Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV. And we are here today to speak about if Tottenham are still favourites for the top four, seeing as what happened last night at Stamford Bridge. Arsenal, I mean, you got to say Arsenal were probably the better team yesterday, but the way they won the game, so lucky. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing on that football pitch yesterday. Christensen, he's been brilliant all season, then goes and does that. Literally just plays through Eddie Nketiah. Nketiah gets tackled 3 times in the box yesterday, and suddenly it just falls to him, and then he has a free shot, a goal to aim at. And then the penalty is pretty much a foul on Saka, pulls down, I think it was Azpilicueta. And I just don't understand what happened on that football pitch last night. And look, you've got to give credit to Arsenal, because at the end of the day, you just got to get the results at this stage of the season. That's what they did yesterday.
And look, they knew the pressure was on them going to Stamford Bridge, needing to get a result to really force their way back into the top 4 race. It's regardless of the changes they made, which they did make a lot of changes, frustratingly enough. It was still a difficult game for them, and Arsenal had players missing as well themselves. It was pretty much a game of who was going to make less mistakes, pretty much, as it turned out. And I think Arsenal made a lot of mistakes in their own defensive third, which a few of them went unpunished. Just before they scored their second goal, they nearly gave a goal to Chelsea. They ended up going the other end and scoring. But you have to give credit to how they defended in the last half an hour. That's what I give them credit for, because they were very solid. They didn't give Chelsea any encouragement. They sat in that low block and with the 3 centre backs, and once and I know Lukaku was not having a good game, but once he went off, they didn't have any sort of presence in the box at all. Well, not that he was a presence beforehand, but that was the kind of time they needed Lukaku, probably in that last half an hour. And because he'd been so poor for the first hour, he was already been taken off. So all of a sudden, it was a task of Chelsea trying to play through Arsenal in their back three, and it's always going to be very difficult when Arsenal had 2 defensive mids and 3 centre backs, and obviously the 2 wing backs as well for a lot of the game. They were impressive in how they were able to fluidly change from a 3 at the back to a 4 at the back throughout the game. I would say that they on the break, Bukayo Saka was a massive danger, and I thought he was absolutely brilliant throughout the game. You've got to give him credit for that, and I thought Odegaard, Smith Rowe and Nketiah as well were causing Chelsea lots of problems, but
especially Odegaard,
but Chelsea, but Arsenal as well were shooting themselves in the foot constantly at the back, and I think they got away with it a lot of the time. They weren't able to, Chelsea weren't able to really take advantage of that, and I think Arsenal will feel like they come away with a deserved victory. I don't think they were magnificent in the game. I think they were probably the better team. I think it was more to do with how poor Chelsea were rather than how amazing Arsenal were. But look, it's Chelsea away, whatever team they put out, and to win that game is an impressive result, despite the luck they got. And the worrying thing is I'm not worried about the performance they gave or the result. I'm more worried about the potential confidence it could give them going now into the latter part of the season, where they just lost 3 on the bounce, and they were pretty much their hopes were dissipating. But now they've got new hope, and with games coming up against United and West Ham, which before the Chelsea game you're thinking going to be very tough games, and you don't expect them to win both of them. Now with new confidence, it could be different. However, United this morning appointing Ten Hag, maybe they might find some more motivation within themselves as well, you've got to hope. But it's going to be very interesting from now to the end of the season. A week ago, before the Brighton game, it looked like Tottenham, just after Arsenal lost to Brighton and we won, it looked like it was going in one direction, and now there's been another twist. So it's going to, I don't know. I mean, I think it's completely up in the air. If it looks more and more likely now, it's going to come down to that game in the North London derby.
Yeah. When you're looking at Arsenal last night, is there anything in that game that shows you that they're a team to be feared in this top 4 race?
it's not about last night. It's about, they're level on points with us. That's the reality. So we have to take them seriously, and we have to be aware that they're well in this race, and it's fine margins right at this point with 6 games left now. No games in hand. That's wiped out. So with same games played now, same points. We're above on goal difference. So that's positive. I don't think Arsenal were without fault yesterday. I don't think it was as good as, say, our performance away at City. Like our performance away at City, we made obviously that mistake for the goal with Lloris, but we were like nearly impeccable in that game in terms of how we attacked and how we defended. I think it was a very different kind of performance from Arsenal, where Chelsea made a lot of changes. They were very unsettled in their back line. You could see that by the mistakes they were making. It was a proper battle in the midfield as well. It was kind of Arsenal give the ball away and then Chelsea give the ball away, and it was about who could take advantage the most. And it just seemed like Arsenal wanted it more, to be fair. That was the reality. I think Chelsea may be feeling too comfortable in their top 4 position, and coupled that with a lot of rested players, not their best team out, and making lots of mistakes, led to Arsenal getting the victory. But it wasn't a performance. The performance-wise, that didn't fear me. I don't think Arsenal was so good. Well, I didn't see a team yesterday where like, oh, they're amazing. Like they're gonna be winning every game. I think based on yesterday's performance, if they continue to play like that, they will continue to drop points. I'm sure of that, because I don't think those kind of mistakes are going to be common in every game that they play from now to the end of the season. But it could give them confidence. And obviously Nketiah getting a couple of goals where he hasn't been scoring might give him a striker who might give him the confidence to get a couple more from now to the end of the season. Their front three have been very stagnant over the past few weeks, and they look lively yesterday. So that's definitely a worry. But a lot like Chelsea went for the win yesterday. Like they came out on the front foot, throwing a lot of caution to the wind, throwing a lot of risk. You saw that with the goals they scored, not many players back, and then any mistake was punished. Like when they go to, and maybe not Man United, but for example, when they go away to West Ham play in a very different way, low block. You have to try and break them down. They look to frustrate Arsenal. Chelsea didn't look to frustrate Arsenal at all. And it's going to be a very different prospect when they come up against these different kinds of teams. Obviously, you go to Newcastle away, who've got great home form at the moment. That's going to be a difficult game. So I'm sure I'm hoping anyway, this isn't going to spark a winning run from now to the end of the season, because I still think based on that performance, they've got mistakes in them. But what it could do is all those missed chances and frustrating performances they had in the recent weeks, they might have a renewed confidence to come flying out the traps against these teams now, and maybe have that belief that I think that might. That's the thing. It might instill a bit more belief into Arsenal than they had before the game. Because if they would have done as expected and are lost or dropped points in the game, then you're feeling like, okay, this is going the way we all thought it was going. It's going in Tottenham's direction. But with that Arsenal win, again in a game you didn't expect, all of a sudden you're thinking, well, what other results are they that we don't expect them to get? Are they going to get? Yeah. We don't know, but because as I said, each game is different. You can't. It's difficult to make judgments on other games based on a game. I think yesterday's game was completely unique. I've never seen a game like that recent times. It was just mistakes galore.
Comedies, errors, wasn't it?
Both from both teams. Both teams will make, like, how many times in that first half did we say Arsenal back three, just give it straight to Chelsea in the midfield? And Chelsea didn't punish them anywhere near enough, and they should have in that first half. But the thing is, second half they did sharpen up Arsenal, and they got the lucky goal. That were ridiculous luck for that third goal. But you still have to defend it, and they did that.
Yeah, they did. With 11 men behind the ball yesterday. When you're looking at it, I mean, we kept banging on about how Spurs have the best fixtures going into the running out of the top four race, and Arsenal, Man United. But all of a sudden now, the fixtures before the North London derby, Spurs' fixtures look harder than Arsenal's, in my opinion. I mean, we go away to Brentford, who are one of the form teams in the Premier League. Then we're at home to Leicester, which, you would expect us to win that game. And then we're away to Liverpool. Arsenal, they got Man United at home, who can't seem to do anything at the moment. I mean, they're relying on Cristiano Ronaldo to get them out of jail whenever they do win the game. Then they play West Ham, in the middle of their 2 European games, which we all know West Ham after a European game usually don't produce the goods, and then they play Leeds at home and we play Liverpool away. So on the face of that, our fixtures look harder than Arsenal's.
I would say that, first of all, Man United, given how bad their performance was against Liverpool, I'm hoping that there is some sort of reaction to that. Obviously, after they got trounced against City 4-1, they then went and beat us the next week. It wasn't an amazing performance, but it was definitely better than the one they put in against Man City. So I'm hoping there's a bit of a reaction from Man United on the weekend, and maybe it won't be as easy as they've been to play against over the past few weeks. And obviously the appointment of Ten Hag announced today, maybe, I mean, we all knew Ten Hag's the manager anyway, but maybe that could be a bit of a catalyst for Man United to up their performance on the weekend and prove something.
Ronaldo might be back as well this weekend.
Ronaldo might be back. And look, United have good players. And it has been clicking for them a lot recently. But who knows? With the players they have, it could click for them on Saturday. I'm not saying they will. They've been awful recently. But we always know, for some reason, when Man United play Arsenal, they usually up their game. That is true. It's not usually a easy game for Arsenal in that one. So I don't think it's going to be a walkover. But right now, if you're saying who's going to win, obviously Arsenal are favourites at the moment for that, considering how United are playing. And then West Ham away. First of all, Leicester also in Europe, so you could make the same case for that.
Yeah, but I'm saying you expect us to beat Leicester.
Yeah, West Ham away for Arsenal. As I said, they're as much as they have European exploits. West Ham at home, they're usually difficult to beat. They might not win the game, but they rarely lose games at home. And they're going to set up to frustrate Arsenal. And also they're very good at set pieces, which obviously Arsenal are quite good at, but it means they can counteract that with how good they are at set pieces as well. And with how West Ham defend and how they play, they're going to be set up to try and nullify Arsenal, which Chelsea were not in midweek. So I don't think that's a game where Arsenal are guaranteed to win either. Do I think Arsenal are going to get 6 points out of 6 in their next 2 games? I don't. I reckon they'll drop points in at least one of them. I really do. I'm not sure which one, but I think one of Man United or West Ham will take points out of them. If they win both of them, fair play to them. But and then obviously Leeds, who are a bit of an unbeaten run as well. But I can't see Arsenal dropping points there. But Leeds have become a bit of a difficult team to play against recently with Jesse Marsch. So I wouldn't say. I would say obviously Leeds is an easier game than Liverpool, but on paper, I would still say they have the tougher fixtures, because as much as Brentford are playing very well at the moment, they are where they are in the table for a reason. It's because their players. I know they're playing very well, won 5 out of 5 with Eriksen on the pitch, but they're still not of the quality of teams at the top of the table. Man United and West Ham are challenging for top 6 for a reason, because their quality of players are of a higher standard. So there's no excuse to fold against Brentford this weekend, however well they're playing. And then Leicester, I think, are obviously they got European exploits, and I think we should be able to beat them as well. So obviously Liverpool's tougher, but I wouldn't necessarily say that Brentford away and Leicester at home are tougher than United at home and West Ham away just yet. Just on the basis of that, I wouldn't necessarily say that.
I'll say the 3 games coupled together, I think on current form.
Yeah, if you put Liverpool in there, you would say probably,
the 3 games together coupled on current form, not just on paper, what kind of quality that they have on the pitch. When you're looking at the whole package together, with the way Brentford are playing at the moment, won 100% of games that Christian Eriksen has played. Leicester, I do think will win that game. And Liverpool away, which obviously, probably the hardest game in the Premier League that you can get right now.
But you would have said Brighton having not won in 7. That would be the easiest game in the league.
Obviously, it doesn't pan out the way you expect it to pan out every time. But I'm just saying, on current form right now, I'd prefer to have Arsenal's fixtures than our fixtures. Me personally.
I still think I would prefer ours. And then you got to remember the last 2 games, Newcastle away and Everton. I would much rather have Burnley and Norwich for me. Yeah. So those fixtures definitely go in our favour. So I think, I just think if we're playing that game, it comes down to North London derby, and if we go into that game level on points, then we still have the advantage, and we still have the advantage now. But definitely, Arsenal have gotten a leg up from yesterday. The thing is now on the weekend, Arsenal play Man United, and whatever happens in that game, it's gone from whoever gets points, or we're gaining points then if we beat Brentford. Now it's like whoever gets points in that game, they're gaining points on us. That's how it feels with that game. But with United having played a game more and having Chelsea in midweek, which I'm hoping they'll put in a better performance than they did against Arsenal, you would have to hope Man United win that game on the weekend. That's where you got to think. Obviously, a draw is the perfect result, but if I think we need Man United to get a result to make sure that Arsenal don't gain even more confidence in this game would have
even
gotten
if
them.
United win and we don't beat Brentford this weekend, it could end up that all three of us are on the same points going into this 5-game run-in.
Correct.
Which would be absolutely crazy. And I think
that's if we lose to Brentford.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we lose to Brentford and Man United win, we go into this run-in, 5 games to go, with all on the same points, and then in that case you cannot
game in hand on United.
Yeah, against Arsenal, but you can't rule out Man U then if that's the case. If they're going to beat Arsenal, they can go on a run from now to the end of the season.
You can't rule out. As long as the gap is this small, you can't rule out any of the teams who are in that gap right now. If you're within 1 game of that position, you can't rule it out, because any team at this moment have proven they can slip up in any game. So, of course, United are definitely in it, but we have to kind of pick our battles. And I think on Saturday, our battle is hoping Arsenal don't win, because they're the team right now who are in the best position to take fourth of us. So we have to hope. But even if it's United win, we have to hope that United get something on the weekend. But it definitely makes the top 4 race a lot more. If it was always interesting, but it's definitely even more compelling now after that result yesterday, because it is so tight. There's so little margin for error now. We maybe could afford to have lost a game, and now it feels like maybe we can't.
Oh, we did lose a game, and it could prove to be a very detrimental loss. The one against Brighton. Depending how the next few games go, obviously. But it does at the moment. It looks like such a bad loss, that Brighton loss. If we were 3 points above Arsenal right now, I think we'd be a lot more calmer. But obviously, Arsenal pulled that result out the bag yesterday, and the way I'm looking at it is just in such a negative light.
Why? You shouldn't be looking at it negatively.
This Brentford game, I just think, like, before this game against Chelsea, I was looking at this Brentford game and thinking that we're going to slip up. And now we got to respond to the pressure, because it's heavy pressure on Spurs now, especially as Man United and Arsenal play earlier.
Pressure's on us.
Heavy pressure on Spurs now.
Pressure's on us, but we have players who have been in this position before. So let's hope we can cope with it. And I know Brentford's going to be a really tough game. It really is. And, Brentford are playing really well at the moment. I have to say that, especially with Eriksen. He's going to be super motivated to show what he can do against us, because, with all the talks of him coming back, he's going to want to prove that he's worthy of coming back as well in that game. So I'm expecting Brentford to, with the crowd behind them, they're always tough away from home in that small pitch. It's going to be tough, but we have the quality. We have the quality to win that game. So we have to be confident that we'll go there and we'll take 3 points. That's what we have to cling on to, because even though we lost to Brighton, we're still on good form. We have to remember that. We're playing well at the moment. We had a poor result last time out, but before then we were winning games by big margins. So we have to hope we can recapture that form and take that into the Brentford game. It's going to be difficult, but I think look, however slender it is, the advantage is still with Spurs. We have to keep that belief. We can't think negatively of what's going to happen. United are going to roll over. West Ham are going to roll over. No, those are going to be difficult games for them. They will be difficult games for them, I'm sure. Because Arsenal, as much as they did well yesterday to win, I don't think it's going to be the same story in terms of how easy it was for them to get goals as it was yesterday. It's good, it's going to be a lot very, very different against Man United and West Ham. They're going to have their own motivations, and I'm sure they're going to make it difficult for them. So we've got hope. And look,
I've got more hope against Man United than I do against West Ham. Arsenal.
We just have to hope. We have to just focus on us, as Bob Spur says. We have to focus on ourselves. Doesn't matter what the Arsenal do. If we keep winning, then we stay ahead of them. That's the main thing. So, it'll be nice if they drop points, but Spurs have to focus on Spurs. If
100%.
we do that, we go into the North London derby ahead of them. That will be the crucial thing.
Yeah, but all of a sudden, if we do start dropping a few points before we play Arsenal, then it looks very hard. It will look very hard. That's assuming if Arsenal win. But, you know, I think there will be quite a few twists and turns left to go from now until the end of the season, even though there are only 6 games left. No, I agree with you. I think that Spurs are slightly still the favourites, but it is very slightly now.
Yeah, I think it's gone from like last week after Brighton won against Arsenal. It probably, and Spurs beat Villa. Percentages, it probably went to like 60% Spurs to get top 4. After we lost to Brighton and Arsenal lost as well, I would say, even though in theory it's as you were, I actually think our percentage went down a bit because of that loss to about 55%, and now it's like 52% Tottenham, I would say. No, probably less, probably like 51% Tottenham. Like at the moment, it's 50, like a very slight
50.5%.
I would say it's like 51%. That's how I would look at the percentage. But look, we still have that 1%, but that could be wiped out in an instant. So, but you got to remember as well, we could go into the North London derby 3 points behind and win to overtake them.
Yeah.
So there's still a chance.
That's a big thing.
There is still a chance, even if we are 3 points behind. If that could be the situation, we could still overtake them with a win at home to Arsenal with the crowd behind us. First North London derby with the full stadium. So I can't believe it's been this long.
Yeah.
But it's the first under North London derby with the full stadium behind us. You got to hope we'll make it a cauldron and we'll turn up for that game. You have to hope for that. So.
Do you think
I don't want to bank on
hinges on that game?
At the moment, it looks like it. I don't want to bank on it all hinging on that game, but it could well do. It could well do how things are going. It depends. If Arsenal keep up these standards, then it's going to hinge on that game. But I'm banking on the fact that I reckon in one of those 2 games over the next 2 they'll drop points.
That's what I'm kind of holding on to. That if we do go into that North London derby 3 points behind, we can end up that day above them. That's the kind of advantage that we do have. That goal difference that we have made up in the last few weeks is massive.
Could be massive now. It looks like it, looking like it's crucial.
But it's all to play for. It is absolutely all to play for in this top 4 race. For all the people that came on here and said that Spurs, this is done, it is far from done. Far from done. Some big games ahead, absolutely big games, and we need to get back to winning ways this weekend against Brentford.
Doesn't matter what happens at Arsenal or United. Yeah. We just have to win.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
Exactly.
We just have to win on the weekend, and we're still in the position.
All right, so that is our opinion on the top 4 race. We both in agreement that Spurs are still slightly the favourites by a thread, hanging by a thread of the favourites in this top 4 race.